Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock, and it's time for my live stream. Yay! I need an applause thing. Yay! Anyway, that's again, I've done this before. This is whenever somebody is deaf, that's how they cheer. I had some friends who were interpreters, and they would cheer with their hands up. Anyway, so I tend to do that when I'm doing yay, just a habit. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. You know, I do these live streams on Monday nights at 7 and Thursday afternoons at 3. We tend to have a pretty decent turnout. A couple things. I don't know how long I'll be able to go today, just saying. I still have back problems. And also, if the signal starts getting, fuzzy, just hang in there. It usually straightens itself out. I'm the only one at home today using the internet, so hopefully everything works. But if it doesn't, just know that a lot of times it has to reset or something, I don't know, some magical thing within the space-time continuum to make everything work. As you can see, I gave you a different background today, a whole different background. You know, I've been doing all these videos and live stream stuff on the Mustang, and that's because I've been working on it. Well, I had an opportunity today to take out the Model A, the 1931 Model A that was my grandfather's. And of course, I've restored this. And I was able to take it out and go for a ride today with Mark Indy. We went out to eat, have some lunch, had a good time, had some good conversation. And I know I needed that. I needed that because usually I'm just here talking to myself. That doesn't go over so well. But it's nice to have somebody else to talk to and share information and, have some car talk and different things. So anyway, as I've said, I'm still having back problems. I mentioned it on Monday. I started last Thursday whenever I was doing some stuff around the shop and organizing and hauling stuff away. And somehow I managed to get something out of place and it went downhill from there. So I've been to the chiropractor 3 times now, and that has helped. I've been popping Advil. That has helped. Sleeping, somewhat okay. Along with that, yesterday, I went and had a vaccine. No, not that one. No. I had a shingles vaccine. So a couple months ago, I had the regular vaccine. It's 2 parts for the shingles vaccine. So I did the other one 2 months ago, and when I did that shot, it knocked me down. I couldn't do anything. I was in the house falling asleep. I mean, that's how it works, So I got this one, the second part yesterday in this arm, and it's tender. It burned, went in, but it wasn't too bad yesterday. But today, as the day goes on, I feel it, it's starting to give me a little bit of wooziness, let's say. But anyway, I'm here and we're going to do this and try to keep doing this as long as we can. So let's see who's here. Right off the bat, we have Greg's Workshop from Australia. Glad you're here, Greg. Leonard checking in. Afternoon, fellow Joe Daddy admirers. Thank you. Troy Just It. Hi, Barry and Gang. It's a sunny day in Savannah, Georgia area. Yeah, it's sunny here too. We do have some clouds, which is great. But it is a sunny, nice day here. Jerry checking in from the Money Pit in Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here, Jerry. Rick Gain. Hello from a drying out and flooded New Jersey. Yes. I've heard the news that there was a lot of rain and, buckets of rain. I had a call from my mom today who lives in Pennsylvania, and they have a creek in their backyard, or a crick. If you live there, you have to say crick, but they have a creek in the backyard, and it's way high. And it's calmed down, I guess, and it's working. It's slowly going to work its way down. But yeah, they're dealing with, in fact, I think they said like 9 people died in the county that they live in from flooding. So that's pretty scary. That's a lot of flooding. Troy says, nice Model A. Thank you, Troy. If you haven't seen this, there are 2 videos, at least 2 videos, 2 long videos on this car from the time I got it through the whole restoration process. It is technically not restored per the original blueprints, whatever. The body, everything is original. The only thing that's not original to the car, one, is the color. And yes, that is blue. That is blue today, ladies and gentlemen. Blue, grabber blue from a 70 Mustang. I chose that color specifically because I wanted people to see it when I was coming down the road so they wouldn't run over me. You know what? It works. This car, top speed is 45 miles an hour. It doesn't stop on a dime. It stops on a football field. It doesn't turn on a dime. It turns, I don't even know what, in a train station. I mean, it's slow. But it's such, it's fun to drive. It was my grandfather's car. So anyway, um, that is Grabber Blue from 70 Mustang, or they use it on the Mavericks, I think, as well. And then the interior is not original. That's the only other thing. Everything else is, other than, of course, I repaired a lot of things. But, that's the car. Look, my wife, I think, just popped on again for no reason. Not at all. Jack, hello from a flooded New Jersey. I'm glad you're here, Jack. Hope all is well. Bob, hey, Bear, haven't seen you in a week. YouTube and kind of hung up busy. Good to be back. Well, I'm glad you're here, Bob. I'm pretty sure you were the one having problems before with getting on here, right? I know there's another one. Chris has had trouble getting on here and making comments. I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm glad you're here. Flypoo says hi. Glad you're here. Randy, hello from Iowa. Nice to see Grandpa's truck, Model A. Technically a two-door, Tudor, two-door, technically. And yeah, I had it out today and it was just fun to drive it around. So I thought I would bring it in here just to give everybody a look-see at it. It's still here and it does get driven occasionally. Wally checking in from the cool north now. That's probably a good thing. I don't know if you've painted yet, Wally. I haven't seen or kept up with all your videos. I don't know what your status is. So hopefully you're able, if you haven't yet, I'm hoping you're able to get to paint soon. Okay, Jack is talking to Rick. Asking about what part of New Jersey. Ray Buckman, beautiful car. Thank you, Ray. Ed Cucciarella. The A is a nice aqua color. No, it's not. It's Grabber Blue. Just saying. Jerry, I was set up to deliver a fifth wheel camper to West Mountains in North Carolina. We were in the rain all day, buckets of rain, but we made it safe and sound. Owner was very happy. Good to hear that, Jerry. I'm glad to hear that. It can be pretty scary towing a camper in a heavy rain or storm or anything, high winds. Rick Stevenson checking in. Glad you're here. Leonard, we had a 2094 Model T truck that needed a boat anchor to stop it. Pretty much. Here's the thing, too. I made a conscious. I made a decision that I was going to keep the car as original as I could. And I did, again, other than the seats and the paint color. Now, I did add some accents, like I put on stainless steel bumpers, bolt-on items. But one thing about these Model A's, one thing very in particular is, first of all, they don't have a synchronized transmission. So you really have to be on your game to get this thing slowed down using the transmission. 2, they don't have hydraulic brakes. They have like go-kart brakes. Now, I don't know exactly what this car weighs. I would venture to say I don't know. I wouldn't say I don't know what they weigh. It shouldn't be 2,000 pounds. These are fairly light cars overall. I know like me and my son could carry around the frame with nothing on it, but we carry around the frame by ourselves. My young son, not a problem. The body, maybe it's 500 pounds. I don't know what all together, but regardless, it has brakes of a go-kart. And I mean, it's all metal rods underneath with pivot points. You push on the brake pedal and it turns this big lever, it's a shape almost like a sine wave, let's say, underneath the car. And two of the high points go to the rear and 2 of the other points go to the front. Basically, when you rotate that thing, it pulls, I believe it pulls the rods that connect to the brakes, which have a cam, that rotates the cam, which spreads apart the brake shoes. So it's really just go-kart brakes. It is rudimentary. And yeah, if you want to stop, you better be planning ahead. You're not going to stop quick at all. No. So I've had a couple instances where I've had to like just run through a stop sign because there was no way that I was stopping the thing. I did have one instance where one of the brake pins, It just has little dowel pins, whatever, with a pin, like a cotter pin through it to hold it in place. One of those broke, and I lost all the brakes on I think it was the right side, because it's one per side. And so I ended up hitting the brakes, and it yanked me hard left, and I went through an intersection, and it was pretty scary, especially since I had both my sons in the car with me. Wally, finally the heat broke, so yes, painting should start next week. Good to hear, Wally. Jerry, I have just about finished the ePass system, have video, and will post when I finish the install, hopefully by the end of the week. Cool, Jerry. Cool. That would be nice. Rick, he's talking to Jack. He's saying Central New Jersey, not far from New Brunswick. So if you didn't see that. So regardless, at this point, what I was saying earlier with my back problems, be grateful when you don't have problems. We get complacent. We really do. When we're not suffering or not in pain or not uncomfortable, whatever the case may be, we don't even think about it. It just passes through our mind. It's just another day. Everything's fine. And then we have something happen, and we forget just how lucky we are to be in this condition, or the condition we were in up to this point. So just remember to be grateful for stuff like that. Healthy back, strong legs, whatever it is. You can get out in the garage, turn wrenches, drive a car, all those things we just take for granted every single day. And when you can't do something, boy, does it put a damper on your outlook. I can tell you that right now. It just changes your attitude. And that's another reason why I was glad Rick came by today. He just, we got to hang out a little bit and, share some conversation. And it was good. It was good. So let's see. Jack is saying he's up north in Morris County. Okay. So Rick, that's where Jack is. Okay. I did post a video yesterday on the painting of the gas tank for the motorcycle. I have another video for that where I do all the repair work or the custom brackets and stuff that I'm making or made for it to hold all the modules and coil or whatever, all the electronic stuff. So that'll come later, and it's more like maybe not a direct how-to, but it gives you some ideas that you could use if you're, building a bike. Along with that, I do assemble everything, put everything in place, and, just kind of have a sequence of a build. Now, there's not a lot of talking in that one. I mean, there's some, but there's a lot of probably dead space. And I'll be honest, when I'm putting the things together or this and that, I actually had a radio on the whole time. And so I can't play the radio on the stream. So I'm going to have to, or the video. So I'm going to have to mute that section. I may add some music to it. Just giving you a heads up. I may add some royalty-free music that I can put on there just to keep it from being, dead space. Just saying. Bob, I'm disabled from a bad accident. I have a hard time doing everything you just said. Amen to what you said. Thank you for saying that. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mentioned it before, I think. My dad, he's been disabled 34 years, I think it is now, 35. Was in a horrible accident, has 3 herniated discs in his back that he had to try to put back together, and badly injured leg. And he hobbles about, he tries to do stuff, but he hasn't been able to do much over the last 35 years. Now, you're talking about a guy who was a heavy construction carpenter where he did concrete forms, did a lot of concrete forms and building construction, and not anymore. He didn't, he never recovered from it, from that injury. So let's see. Troy, didn't you say you have a Model T also? No, never had a Model T, only the Model A. That's it. Again, this was my grandfather's car. He bought it in 1958. My dad drove this car to high school in 1960, 59, 60. And actually, my mom and dad went on their first date in this car. Yeah. So it's got a pretty decent family history. Um, there's also rumor that how do I put it, that my brother may have been conceived in this car. Just saying, just a rumor. It's just a rumor. Leonard painted an air compressor tank yesterday and said, "Barry, where the heck are you?" Yeah, yeah. I've been yeah, struggling a bit with this back thing. Um, right now the muscles are pretty angry. Been popping Advil. I've actually been trying to soak in Epsom salt and hot water and trying to relieve some stress, but it's just not quite there yet. So we'll see how it goes. My wife and I are supposed to um, go to the lake this weekend. Eh, we'll go, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do much at all. I really, not that you need to. When you go to the lake, you're supposed to relax and chill out and stuff. I do have some projects I have to finish over there, and we'll see how that goes. I may or may not get to those, but yeah. So anyway, if you haven't seen the videos on this, those videos actually get a lot of views. There's two of them that I did of the total teardown, the paint process, my grandparents riding in the car after we did all kinds of stuff to it, and pretty good videos. Pretty good. They got a lot of positive feedback on those videos. I think I have another video on it showing the functions of all the levers and stuff inside the car. Not as complicated as a Model T, more like a tractor. These cars to me are just glorified tractors. That's all they really are. And it's got throttle lever, and it's got a timing lever, and it's got a choke on the dash, and different things. Jerry, try putting an ice pack from 20 minutes every 2 to 3 hours. That process really helped my back. Yep, not a bad idea. I should probably try more of that for sure. Like last night, I can't sit on a like a recliner right now. Nope. So last night I was laying on the floor watching a movie, just laying on my back, just trying to get it calmed down. Mason Fox checking in. Hey Joe Daddy, how's it going? It's going pretty good, Mason. Glad you're here. So I have another thing I wanted to kind of talk about. You probably have seen, or I mentioned that I was putting on the pop-out gas cap on Jade on the 68 Mustang. And I put it on. And I'll honestly say I'm not happy with it. I posted some pictures on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of people like the way it looks. And yeah, it's a great looking gas cap. But what I got was some feedback from Facebook where they said that every time I hit a bump, their gas cap, the door would just pop open on its own. So what I did, I'm going to probably make a little video segment on top of the video that I made for that. Because the cap itself has a spring-loaded gas cap lid, let's say. So when you snap the lid shut, it compresses a spring, and it has a collar that goes around the filler neck, and it's supposed to seal it, right? Well, the other thing it comes with is a secondary cap. Like if you wanted to not have that spring-loaded deal, you could have this little thin gas cap that goes on your filler neck. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have the spring action and the regular cap thing. So I put it all together, and it worked. It latched. And then I just started like taking my fist and hitting the bumper or hitting the tail panel just to give it some vibration. And it popped open again and again and again and again and again. So today, while Rick was here, I took the spring-loaded piece out and just used the regular locking gas cap deal. And it's better, but it's not perfect. The problem is quality control. That mechanism, all that stuff that interacts with each other, you need to have some sort of resistance on the little hooks, that when they come together, they actually want to be bound against each other, not just not just two pieces of chrome that touch each other and can easily release. The second part is the little latch mechanism. It has a rod that acts as a pivot point, and it's got a spring on it. That rod, you can move the whole assembly. Let's just say a third of the width of the rod. So if the rod is an eighth of an inch, you have a third more space than that eighth of an inch that you can move that thing around. So I think there's room for improvement. I'm probably going to go ahead and do a bad review on NPD and tell people don't buy this thing unless you're prepared to have it pop open every other day or every day, because it's not working. So either now that I've taken the cap off, it seems like it's holding better, but I'm still pretty disappointed. The cap is $145, if I remember correctly. I think I have it here. Fuel cap, pop open, repro, $145. This thing should be remote control. It should motor in. It should click itself shut for $145, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Mason, whose car behind you? Also, what year is it, and what's it have for an engine and exhaust on it? Mason, this is a 1931 Ford Model A two-door. And when I say two-door, it's spelled Tudor. That was Ford's play on words because it only has two doors. They had another version which was a four-door, which was spelled Fordor. So this is a two-door. Original engine, four-cylinder flathead, three-speed manual transmission, probably 22 horsepower or something. I don't even know. My mower has more power than this thing. But it was my grandfather's. I restored it, and it's, that's the way it's staying. Rick, kidney stone removal surgery for me next week. The doctor already told me to prepare for pain. Yeah. That doesn't sound good. I hope all goes well. Leonard, they had a caravan of them going east on the I-40 heading to Laughlin for a car show, and the fastest they were driving was 50 downhill. Yep. I've had this, my fastest speed I've had in this car, I think, was 53. And that was downhill with the pedal to the metal. And that was scary. Because those skinny little tires, they catch a rut. Scary. Just scary. You don't need to do more than 40, 45 in this car. Ever. Not in this car, anyway. Maybe a Roadster. But not this thing. Dale, looks great. Too bad it's not better functioning. I love my newer Fords that don't have gas caps. Yeah. Can you add a rare earth magnet somewhere? I don't think there's enough surface area to make that happen for them two to interact. Not a bad idea. I guess I could epoxy some in, but I don't know that would solve the problem. The thing is, it's $145 for this thing. I shouldn't have to touch it. I shouldn't have to do anything but bolt it in and put a smile on my face and never worry about it again. That's my opinion. Ben, did you spray the Mustang with the quarter panel extensions on, or did you spray them separately? Yes. If you go back to the videos, I talk about that. I built extensions to mount them to the car. So there was a gap, 3/8 or half inch between the quarter panel and the extension. That's how I do it. That way the flow pattern stays the same, the clear coat stays the same, and it looks good when it's on the car. So go back and look at the other videos, the paint series on the 68. And also I did that on the Mystique car. Every Mustang I painted, I've made extensions to push the quarter extensions out. Just use a piece of all thread, about 3 inches long, same diameter, obviously, of the bolt that goes in there. You just thread it in, put a jam nut, washer, get it located where you want, put it back through the hole. You have all three locations, put it back through, washer, jam nut, you're done. Pretty easy. Marshall, I love the car behind you. My old man has a 32 3-window he's had for almost 50 years that he just got done with a couple years ago. I've always liked the big sweeping fenders on that era car. Yeah. I mean, it's a fun car to be, out and about in. Just, know that it's this car. I mean, it's not a hot rod by any means. This car, you can get in trouble pretty quick with this car. Like people speeding up on you or pulling out in front of you because it's not anywhere near performance oriented. Just picture driving a tractor on the highway or on the road and interacting with cars and traffic. That's basically what you end up with. I've said many times, and I'll stand by it. It's a glorified tractor. That's all it really is. But I love it. I love it. Future plans with it. Not going. I don't plan to do much else. I'm not going to work on it anymore. I'm not going to modify anything or change anything. I have to determine what the long term plans are for the car. Because I don't think either one of my sons is going to be interested in this car. My grandson might be interested in the car at some point. We'll see. You know, I don't know. Can't hold on to everything. Can't hold on to everything. I've mentioned before. I know you've all heard. Back in March, my brother passed away at 59 years old. Working every day, working on cars, doing his thing, changing the engines, changing transmissions, putting in brakes, building motorcycles, everything. And he has a lot of stuff, a lot of equipment, a lot of project vehicles that he was working on, lots of trucks, and he's not here anymore. And now his wife has to figure out what to do with all that stuff. And I know I've been in conversation with her on several things, and it's difficult. It's difficult. What do you do? What do you do? And someday that's going to be, someday, hopefully not for a long time, someday that'll be a situation that I'm in, and maybe all the rest of us, at some point. But I'm hoping that is another, at least 30 years off. At least 30 years off. Yeah, Leonard, it was a shock. It was a shock. It was March 19th this year. March 19th. I'll say this, he didn't take the best care of himself. Strongest guy I've probably ever known in my life, natural strength, but he never really took care of himself. So, he smoked, he drank when he wanted to, and just, whatever happened, he ended up having what the doctor said. I only know what they've passed on, was he had stage 4 small cell carcinoma. And from that, he could have gotten it from smoking. He could have gotten it from all the chemicals that he's had his hands in every day for years and years and years and years and years. He, never wore gloves, never wore a respirator, never did anything to keep himself somewhat protected from anything. And, he and I grew up in the same environment, and that's what we did. Like if my dad had greasy parts that want to clean up, some valve covers or something, he would pour 3, 4, 5 gallons of gas in a bucket and tell us to scrub it. And we'd just stick our hands in there, and it burned, and we would just scrub we just did what we were told, but not a lot of people realize that, hey, that puts toxins in your system, whether it's gas or oil or paint or grease. Your body absorbs all that stuff. And I know I'm guilty of even doing it myself. If I need to wipe something off quick with some lacquer, boom, I'll put it on a paper towel and wipe it off and not even think about it. Well, that lacquer then goes into my skin faster than probably anything. So anyway, it's rough right now for everybody. It's been going on 7 months, I guess, and just not good. Kim, such a treat to see your Model A again. It's gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. Believe it or not, it's pretty dirty right now. There's a lot of dust on this thing from sitting. I haven't had it out. I had probably 2 months, maybe 3 months. I know I took it out early this year to a cruise in. I cleaned it up for that. I always wipe it down with the One Touch spray, and it's held up pretty good. I know there are some paint issues. The body is fantastic. There's some paint issues going on with the hood. And right now, I can't worry about it. It looks fine. I can see there's going to be issues down the road. I know we're locking up. All right. Brian, hang in there. Have some coffee. Hang in. Hang on. Okay, are we back? Are we on? It's a crazy thing. Crazy. Okay. CMOS high def. Sorry for your loss. Question: two bows in my headliner came down and are sagging the liner. It's in good condition. I don't want to pull the whole thing out. What do you suggest? Two bows came down and are sagging the liner in a Mustang. That seems they shouldn't be able to bow down, honestly. And I don't know what the parameters are like. Have you tried just to push them up and see what happens? First question. Second question: are they still attached to the headliner? Still attached, because if you've seen the headliner video I've done on the Mustang, there's a sleeve that runs across the headliner where the seams are for each panel. Um, where the seams are, there's a sleeve. If it had come out of that sleeve, if like the sleeve broke away or failed, then it could possibly rotate around and push it down. But okay, it's still on the sleeve. Okay, that's strange. I've never seen one of those bows deflect down. That is really strange. Have you tried putting it, just pushing up on it? First question. Have you tried doing that? Jerry, what's a good temperature range for an aluminum radiator with electric fan for turn on off? That's going to be debatable, Jerry. You've got the 6-cylinder, right? So you'd have to see what the thermostat specs are for your 6-cylinder. I know comfortably, I think it's usually the thermostat kicks in around, you can get them at 160, 180 in the factory thermostat. So I would say probably in that range is where you need to have the fan kick on or kick off. If it kicks up to 180, make sure it's on. If it cools down to 160, then it should turn off. But I doubt it'll cool. Well, I don't know for sure with a 6-cylinder what it'll do. But I'm saying 160 to 180, somewhere in that range. Dale, never put anything on your skin you wouldn't put in your mouth. Good point. Leonard, when I worked, the soap cleaner that we used had big warnings and how it would affect the kidneys, and we had to wear long rubber gloves and a mask. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Dangerous stuff. We've all been around it. Okay, 68 Mustang says it slipped down, and yes, it's still in the sleeve. Okay. Doesn't want to tear it. I'll try pushing them up. Yeah, that's a really weird situation. I've never seen a bow that is properly in place come down, because those things, there's a spring tension on those, to keep them in that shape. So the only thing I could think is here's a thought too, I guess, is the interior light still in place? Because normally that would help hold everything up, because when you put in the headliner, you start in the back and you pull forward on all of the bows to make them all square up to the metal of the roof. So I can't see how it would come down unless somebody grabbed the bow and pulled it down. I just can't see it. That's really strange. Now, is it already like this? Did you get it like this, or did it happen after you owned it? Is probably another question. All right, let me see where we're at. I do have some other videos to edit. I have the. Oh, okay. So you're saying it was like that when you purchased it. Okay. Well, then I really can't. Uh, it's just really weird. Like there's no reason those should be bowed down unless somebody grabbed them and pulled them down and changed the spring tension to where it came down. So yeah, I'm be careful, but try to push them up. That's about all I can tell you. Especially if the leaves are still there. Well, Jerry, I will be adding the vintage air system. So I'm guessing this will raise the temperature in the summer. Vintage air system only load other than the water pump. Okay. Um, Again, I look at the parameters for the engine, and try to set it up for that. Regardless, it might be on the whole time you're driving it. It just might be. Okay, so I have one or two more videos I need to edit for Jade. Now, again, I'm trying to get stuff done, but it's really been a struggle. It's really been a struggle. Even sitting here is not real comfortable. But I'm going to hang in here a little while longer. But I have the video on the door glass that I did, putting that in, and event windows. So I need to get that edited. I have another video to edit for the motorcycle, putting all the brackets and stuff on the bike. I have another one. Well, I've been working on the one with the gas cap for the car. So that's still to come. And the windshield is almost ready to go in. Now, I've prepped it. I've got the gasket on the glass. I've got the clips on the car. Just got to get the windshield in the car. And I can't do that by myself. I don't know if I'll be able to do it today or not. I'd like to. Hopefully the advo kicks in and I can do something. But I'll have to get Roger over here to help me get it in the car and get it done. But really want to get the glass in the car. That's a big step. That's a really big step in the process. It's one thing to paint the car. You start putting bumpers or chrome or trim or whatever. But when you get the glass in the car, that's when you really feel like you're doing something. So I got to get the windshield in. Of course, I'm gonna seal it separately. I'm not gonna do it. With putting the butyl tape in the grooves. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it separately with a caulking gun, and I think that'll work. But definitely at least two people to help with that. Marshall, the 180 thermostat works well for my V8 anyways. Thanks. I think the 160 opens too much and doesn't allow time for water to cool in the radiator. Well, that may be a possibility too. So 180, that's a V8. So I don't know what the parameters are again for the 6-cylinder. Rick, don't push yourself. Let your back heal first. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm just it's hard for me to not do things. Eric, Joe, in your younger years, do you remember hanging out at burger drive-ins with your muscle car hanging out? Well, I'll tell you this. When I was younger, I think teenage years, I'll take that back. Growing up at my dad's junkyard, I never had any kind of performance car. Nothing. He wouldn't allow it. I drove crap. That's all I drove up until I went in the military. But later on, I did have a 67 Plymouth Belvedere, which was a GTX clone, which, man, we did a lot of fun, things with that car. Just going places, hanging out, and going to the movies and different stuff. So that was a fun car, but never really got much into, because our little town I grew up in, trust me, the town was so small, it didn't even have a red light in it. And the stop signs were more like yield signs. It's like, stop if you're going this direction, but if you're going to the right, just keep moving. Don't bother. Just keep going. So pretty small little town. Leonard can walk, but the minute I lean over, it's done. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of in between right now. I started feeling better earlier in the week. And then here's the thing. I went down and I worked on a gas tank door or, cap. After that, I went downhill again. Yeah. I'm pretty dumb in that sense. I can't really stop myself from doing things. Eric, where did you hang out? Well, honestly, like for us, I rarely, we would cruise our little town occasionally. But for me, I didn't go like in high school. I'll say this: I was in a marching band. Woohoo! I played the lead snare. I was a snare drummer in our marching band in high school. But so I went to Friday nights, football games and band competitions and stuff like that. But if I was at home or it was a weekend that I wasn't doing something, believe it or not, I never really went anywhere. I would stay out in my dad's garage, basically experimenting with metal, working on cars or trucks. And I would stay out there, Friday nights, Saturday nights. I would be out in the garage till 3 or 4 in the morning, radio cranked and just working on stuff. That's all I ever did growing up. That was like my happy place. And it's still my happy place. Still my happy place. Eric, up to hanging out at the gas station a lot on weekend nights, deciding where to have a party. Yeah. Yep. I get that. I get that. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Whew. I know I was smelling gas. The thing is, with these old Model A's, they have a shutoff valve on the firewall. And so if you don't shut that off, there's a very good chance you're going to get gas in your garage or whatever. And that's where I was just at. I could smell gas coming in. Why is this here? Okay. So, yeah, there's a small puddle of gas on the floor. I knew I was smelling it. Louis Torino, hello, Barry Gang. I'm digging your Model A color scheme. Yes, thank you. That is grabber blue. It is actually a blue. Pretty close. The color that's on the car, grabber blue, is just a little tiny bit darker than what you see right here. Just a little. Not much. Rick, talking about your younger years makes you realize just how fast time passes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yesterday I was hanging out watching my grandson for an hour, just trying to keep up with him. My wife watches him every day. She had to go do something, so I went and hung out with my 2-year-old grandson. That'll wear you out just in that, just doing that little bit, because it's something different. You're not doing the same routine you're doing every day. You're interacting with a 2-year-old who has a whole different agenda. Karsten, I closed the deal on the Buick Riviera 69 winter project. Awesome. That is good to hear. I'm looking forward to updates on that. Looking forward to updates. Troy, I see Iron Man is earning his keep by holding down the radiator cab. Yes. Yes. It's funny, these things, they're not pressurized. The radiator is not pressurized. And the water pump pushes fluid down to the bottom water neck, and it comes up through the radiator. And then, yeah, it's got to be that way. Oh, no, wait, maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Maybe I have it backwards. Maybe it pumps to the top. I can't remember. Anyway, I looked at every time I drive the thing, I have to put more water in it because it'll evaporate. It's not sealed. Even if you put antifreeze in there or whatever, it's not a sealed system. So you have to be cautious with that. A lot of times I carry an extra gallon of water with me because I got to be prepared. If it gets too low, it will boil it out quick. It will boil it out. I've had it happen, I think, twice, where it said, "I'm done. Here comes whatever's water is left," and it just blows out of the overflow, and you got to sit there and wait. Hope somebody else has some water with them. If you're doing a tour with Model A people, they carry water with them. Fill it up, and get it moving. And get it moving. But it works, you know. That little flathead engine, it does pretty good. And the other thing is kind of weird with these cars. I've mentioned this in the past, but believe it or not, you talk about a glorified tractor. I've said it many times, and I'll continue to say that. The engine, if you ever look at a Model A, it's got 4 spark plug wires that are really flat pieces of copper, or they're copper material. They're flat. They actually push onto, like if you have your post, it pushes around the post like that on your spark plug. Also to your distributor, just pushes on. It's a little flat piece of metal. Um, the uh, oh, the water pump, yeah, the water pump. It has a packing ring. If you have the factory water pump, it has a packing nut or packing ring. So basically, the water pump has an impeller inside of the engine cavity, and then the front half is the radiator fan. You know, so on that shaft, the housing that holds that shaft is kind of a cup shape. And that cup shape is the center of the shaft that rotates everything. And of course, the fan belt connects to it and turns all that. But um, the there's a nut that you take loose with a screwdriver. You unwind it off of the shaft, and then internally there is a packing ring. It's like almost like a wax rope type of thing, packing, and you put it inside of that where that nut is. That's your seal, and then you turn the nut back in tight enough that it doesn't leak. Now, from what I understand, old timers who've had the original, grew up with these cars, whatever, you had to do that like every single week, to not lose water out of the water neck or out of the water pump. So think about that in itself. Every week you had to turn off this little, like a jam nut, packing nut, pull out all the junk that's in there, the old wax ring, rope another one in, tighten this thing back down every single week. That was a regular maintenance type thing. But this one, I found they make a modern version of that, which it's completely sealed. You don't have to ever do that again. It's a sealed unit. You unwind it. You don't have to unwind anything. You just bolt it to the car, and it's done. So that's a fantastic upgrade. Fantastic upgrade. Robert, I'm in the door and here. Okay. You're not here. You're not here. You must be at home. Troy, it's interesting how simple those cars were back then. Yeah. Like I've said before, there's a throttle control on the dash, on the steering column. So if you were driving 30 miles, and you just didn't want to mess with the gas pedal, you could pull that thing down like a tractor and just cruise. Just let it run, on the left side is your timing on the distributor. You rotate up and down to advance or retard the timing. There's no automatic stuff on any of these things. So, Robert, I have a couple of rolls of the good asbestos lead packing. The Teflon stuff now isn't as good. Well, yeah, I'm just glad I don't have to deal with that. Lewis, have you ever cooked or heated any food on your Model A engine? I've heard folks used to do this on long trips. I have not. I haven't had reason to, but I'm sure it would work because it does make heat. Boogie Bum is talking to Jerry's Garage. I checked my old Chilton repair manual. It says 6-cylinder V8, virtually the same operating temperature, 185 to 192. Thank you, Boogie Bum. Appreciate that. Phil, reassembly for me has become overly time consuming. Small steps, I believe, take care, Barry. Yes. Oh, yeah. It is definitely time consuming. Robert, I would not visit your place without bearing ribs. Okay, well, good idea. Rick, no OBD port on a Model A. That is true. And that's a good thing. Rick Stevens, there's a book about using your engine to cook. It's called Manifold Destiny. That's pretty awesome. I like that. In the military, if people that had access to Humvees or tanks or whatever, they would frequently use the engines to heat stuff up frequently, but not us infantry guys. Nope, we ate cold food, cold stuff. Blue Trevino says, thanks, Rick. Troy, we used to warm our sea rats on the old M151 Jeeps back in the day. Yep. Kim Kiranicki, water pump. Was I saying something wrong? Or was there a question I missed? I don't know. Maybe I said something wrong. I don't know. Let me know. Jerry's thanking Boogie Bum for the information. Yep. See, even this little bit of time we're able to spend together is getting us some information shared. That's cool. That's a good thing. Just off on an angle, a couple things. I started. You remember the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, my twin? It was on last night, so I started watching it. I haven't seen that in many, many years. And even now, I'm like, that's pretty amazing. That's a pretty amazing movie that they put together. And one of the really cool things about that movie is they filmed it backwards. If you didn't know that, they filmed his skinny parts first. They filmed his skinny parts first, where he was on, coming back to the island, or coming back, getting away from the island. So they filmed that part first, and then they filmed his heavy parts later. So just one of those weird kind of trivial things. Kim, I thought that it used a thermosiphon system. Well, it might. I don't even know. I don't know for sure. I know it's got a water pump. I know that. And it will pump water up the water neck. Now that I think about it, it comes up the water neck to the upper inlet on the radiator into the main chamber. And then, so I don't know if it's technically a thermosiphon. I don't know. I don't know what the right wording is. Dustin, on my 66, I'm installing the new cowl and inner apron. Should I start with the cowl or the fender aprons or alignment? They are all off the car. They're all off the car. Okay, so you have installing new cowl and inner aprons? Inner, you mean like the rear aprons? Is that what you're referring to? Because if you're working on, I'm installing the new cowl and inner aprons. Okay, so you're going to be doing upper and lower cowl as two pieces, I would assume. Inner fender aprons. Okay, so you're talking about like all the aprons, all four aprons. You're doing all four. So you still have the shock towers, or do you not have shock towers? That's probably even more important. So do you have frame rails, shock towers? What do you have? Okay, so you're doing all four aprons. Okay. If memory serves, you should probably do the firewall. Are you doing the firewall? You're not replacing the firewall. So if you're not replacing the firewall, then you should be able to get away with putting the cowl together. If the firewall is good, then that's a fixed location. You've got the kick panels on the side, and you've got the flange on top of the firewall and the windshield opening, so you can get the cowl in place, and that'll probably suffice for that. The aprons, start in the back, work your way forward. If you have any kind of witness marks of where things were, that'll help. But more importantly, when you're doing this stuff, and I've stressed this many times, test fit, test fit, test fit. I don't care where the aprons were originally. I don't care if they were off or they were dead center. I don't care. I want to have everything in place so that the exterior sheet metal fits. So if you're doing the aprons, clamp them in place as best you can, get them screws or whatever, get those in place, all four of them. Get the fenders on the car, if you can, just set the hood on top. You don't have to have it bolted on, but set it on top and look at the reveal, the gaps, and see where everything is. And then if you can get bolts in the holes, if they line up great, fine, run with it. But if you have to, adjust the apron slightly. You shouldn't have to move it an inch, but if you can move it a little bit and it helps with the alignment of the fender, you're further ahead. So just think of it that way. Wilson, yes. Yeah. Leonard Bakersfield, yes. I noticed that in that movie last night too. I haven't gotten through the whole movie. I'm only halfway through it. Okay. Robert saying firewall and cowl to make the aprons fit. Basically the same thing, but apparently he's not doing the firewall. He's just doing the cowl. And it does have original shock towers and still have original firewall. Okay. Yeah. Marshall, I heeded Barry's warning about mock-up, but I swear the front sheet metal never goes back to exactly where I had it. Well, yeah, I agree. Take it off 2 or 3 times. One of those times it might actually line up the way you thought it did. I swear. I've done this on more than one old car. Not this car, but like Mustangs. Put fender on, it doesn't line up. Take it off, look at it. What's going on? Why did this is done? What's wrong? Put it back up. And it lined up. What did I change? Nothing. It just, the stars aligned and the bolts went in and it lined up. Who knows why? Who knows why? Dustin, thank you. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm always more concerned with the exterior sheet metal than I am with whether the metal is where it started from. Because let's face it, aftermarket panels can be different shapes. They can be different lengths or widths or whatever, different bends. I've dealt with this on many cars where I've had to redust and make things or, change things. So anyway, I think I'm going to have to call it quits. We're at an hour already, believe it or not. And we'll say this, and maybe if you want to contact me any other way, I've got 35 people watching. I mentioned on Monday that I'm really getting fed up with YouTube and how they do things, how they're making all the money and I'm not. But I did see where there's something available on my channel that apparently I could set up memberships. Okay. Memberships. I'm not sure exactly how all that works. I know there are different levels of membership. But I may consider, instead of going to another platform like Vimeo or something like that, I may just consider setting up memberships on my channel. And I don't know how else to do it. I've got to generate more revenue. I've got to have more income to survive. And, it's tough. It's tough. So, Robert says the membership works kind of like a Patreon thing. Yeah, but I think they still take a cut, but instead of being 50-50, it's 70-30 towards the content creator. I know that much. They also point out that the memberships can be different levels, which is interesting to me. Here's what I'm considering, just so you all kind of have some ideas of what I'm talking about. I've already had many times where people email me or call me or ask questions, and I do my best to help out and answer. The reality is that's time. And we all know time is money, right? So, and not that I mind helping people, I really don't. But I've gotten to the point where I just can't continue to do stuff like that. Time, I've only got so much time on this planet. And to be giving up that time on a, weekly basis, really, it doesn't help me. So I've considered that I may end up doing different levels of membership because they will allow you to do that. One of the ideas that I have is to make a higher end membership. So let's say I had a $4.99 a month membership, whatever. And I think with that, you get access to my videos and you get, I don't think there's any commercials, no video, nothing junk, right? Which is cool. And then I have a different level and a different level. Well, they have one level that's like $50 a month or something. And I'm not committed to this yet. But the thought is, well, if somebody wants to actually talk to me and get some advice or input, which I do it here too, But if they want somebody to, maybe they have to sign up for a higher level. Maybe that means getting a phone call, maybe that means spending time on your project somehow, So I'm just saying, these are some different things that I have to consider because I've got to have more revenue. I have to have more revenue. Let's see. Robert, I don't know how many 100 times I've test fitted the frame rails and everything else before I finally welded them all in place. Yes. Yes. Leonard, trying to put a used quarter panel on a fitment test, that can drive you nuts. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Robert, the memberships will work kind of like a Patreon thing. Okay. Leonard, dang YouTube loss. Yes. And Robert, I know of a few that will do personal help consultations for an hourly fee or as part of Patreon. See, and that's what I'm considering. I have to consider it because the reality is, I don't care. This thing connects me to everybody, and if people want to have a conversation about something, well, maybe it needs to be an hourly rate. I don't know. I don't mind helping, but it takes time. I've had several conversations over the years, many conversations over the years. And the thing is, you don't get that time back. You don't get that time back. So I'm looking at different ideas. Just know that in the future, I may have to set up a membership thing and make all my videos available only to members. Just saying. Because if I'm only making $9 off a video with 1,000 views, then I need to have more. I need to have more. That's just not going to cut it. Just not going to cut it. Robert, I have helped out lots of people on projects over the year, but doing it all for free really drags you down over time. Amen to that. Yeah, you're 100% correct. Yeah, lots, not mots. I got it. But you're 100% correct, Jerry, you like the idea of a membership. Okay. Yeah, and again, it may be just a membership on YouTube. To forego the idea of going to Vimeo directly and making it through a Vimeo process where it's a pay per view type of thing. Maybe I just do it on YouTube and say, guess what? Your access now is $5 a month. $5 a month. And if you, let's say, if I have 50,000 subscribers, I've said it before, I have 50,000 subscribers and I get 1,000 views on a video. That means nothing. Subscriber count really doesn't matter except to YouTube. They want you to reach a certain level before they start paying you. But there's something I read where it said you may have to have 100,000 subscribers before you can do memberships. But I'm going to consider if it'll let me do it with 50,000. Now, basically, if I set it up to where it's $4.99 a month, well, YouTube's going to take 30%, $1.50, right? Somewhere in that range, right? Yeah, $1.50. So if I have 1,000 people that join up and become members, my revenue changes to $3,500 a month, which is almost enough to live on. Almost enough to live on. So just know I'm trying to figure out ways to help not only me but everybody else. Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free, right? Yeah. Okay. Leonard says, "Man, that's not right." Yeah, I know. It's not right, but anyway. Okay. I'm going to call it a day. Maybe I'll do another type of video where I talk about the membership type thing and directly, talk about that. I don't know yet, but I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm still feeling a little woozy from the shingles vaccine that I took yesterday, but I'm glad I did it, and hopefully, it alleviates any future problems. But that'll be it. I'll be back Monday night at 7, and we could talk more about stuff and see how life's going. But until then, take care of yourselves. Hope you have a good weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. Have a good weekend. See ya.